Sairam, and warm welcome to another episode of the Innovation and Purpose podcast series from SSSIHL Higher Learning Institute's Innovation Council, IIC. Warm welcome, Sairam, to Dr. G. Raghavender Raju garu. How are you doing today, sir?
Thank you very much, sir. Sairam. Fine.
Thank you. So today we have 5 teams, Professor Raju. I can say Professor Raju, yeah. He's my junior, so that's the reason why I'm just taking it out.
Yeah, most welcome.
So we look at Embodied Scholarship, the department's vision and mission. That's the first theme. And research that heals, impact stories from the field. So it's actually going to narrate real-world applications of social research. Then we look at analytics with the sole research thrust areas, and followed by purposeful partnership, collaboration, and consultancy. And finally, we look at the higher calling, integrated selfless service in research. These are the 5 themes that we're going to look at. And quick introduction. So Dr. Raghavender Raju is an expert in the area of international economics and finance. His expertise in the field is reflected in over the numerous publications spread across in modeling different aspects of the external sector. He is actively involved in research work apart from his full-time teaching duties. He's pursued both his undergraduate and master's in economics, and then went on to complete his doctorate degree at SSSIHL Higher Learning. After his master's in economics, he cleared the UGC NET and joined SSSIHL Higher Learning as a lecturer back in 2003. He's guided over 50 dissertations at the departments of economics as well as management and commerce. He's published a book, about 10 chapters in edited volumes, around 36 research papers in refereed national and international journals, and presented over 50 papers in national and international conferences. Now, he's invited as a resource person of econometrics at various universities in India. So currently, he is the head Department of Humanities and Social Sciences and Dean of Student Welfare, SSSIHL Higher Learning. So warm welcome to you again. And
thank you very much.
Let's move into the first few questions. We will look at introducing the department programs and purpose rooted in Swami's vision. So a couple of questions around how does the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences align its curriculum and research with the mission of Swami, and in what ways are the department programs across campuses uniquely positioned to shape both intellect and character, Rajgar?
Sure. Thank you very much. And first of all, thank you for giving this opportunity to share my thoughts. So offering our collective pranams at Bhagawan's lotus feet. Loving Sairam to you, brother. I'm currently the head Department of Humanities and Social Sciences. So a bit of background when we talk about Humanities and Social Sciences. Actually, it consists of 5 sub-departments, if I can say. Economics being the queen of social sciences, so that's a major department we have. Along with economics, we also have a political science, philosophy, psychology, and history. So economics alone is offered at the postgraduate level, whereas all other subjects are offered as a minor course. So which means in NEP now we have major minor combinations. So these are offered as minor courses. Basically 4 courses are offered across the 8 semesters of the undergraduate program. So economics alone has a post-graduation. By the way, this department is the youngest department in the SSIHL, because it was only in 2001 under the able guidance of Professor Vishal Pandit. This department was started in 2001. So it's fast approaching 25th year as such. Excellent. So we also have plans to take up some major initiatives with regard to that. Right.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you. And this department is spread across in 2 campuses, namely Anantapur campus, that's for women, and then Prashantilan campus we have for men. Now coming to the courses that we offer undergraduate program, postgraduate program, and also PhD. Now at undergraduate program, we offer 2 programs, namely BA Honors and Honors with Research in Economics. And we introduced a new program, and it's, I would say, the highlight of our department currently, what we call as a BS in Finance, Economics, and Data Analytics.
Excellent.
So what IIM is proposing to start next year, by Bhagawan's grace, we already started, with this year, and it was a very good response in terms of students, and they're really liking it. So we call it as BS FEDA. And of course, in MA Economics, we have MA Financial Economics and MA Applied Economics. So way back in 2003, we started this, and 2023 we started the 4-year undergraduate program. So we were one of the few institutes to start the NEP program to that extent. Now coming to how do we connect, Bhagawan's philosophy into the curriculum? I mean, if you look at the vision and mission of the institute itself, I mean, ultimately, as Bhagawan himself says, I want everyone to be, an individual, molded with character, right? And he wants, she or her to be men or women of character. Now, this is obviously by default ingrained in the DNA of SIHL itself. So every department will obviously strive towards achieving this particular, aim of Bhagawan. And Bhagawan doesn't want you to be an economist or a chemist or a physicist. Bhagawan wants you to be, again, a leader. So, I mean, he really wants you to be the best of whatever you do and whatever you contribute to the society. And Bhagawan always believes that whether it is academia or the research, whatever we are today is because of the society, and it's very important that we also try to give back to the society. So keeping that in mind, I would say probably for this humanities and social sciences, the scope of doing research for the society is much higher compared to many other departments, right? Because they could be more technical, but here the scope of application to society is very high. So keeping that in mind and Bhagwan's principles, the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, mostly economics, has also decided or planned to channelize our research areas broadly into 3 things, namely in the area of energy, area of health, and also in the area of environment. Now, I'll take a minute. So when you talk about energy, there are a couple of students who are already talking about green energy, who are talking about, and we also have a research scholar working in the area of green energy in terms of firewood, if they use, what is the implication of that. And sustainability is obviously the part and principle of most of the things. And talking about the health, in fact, I'll come to a little later and talk about the success story, where we have done a good amount of research on health economics, and Swami's health mission itself is there. And talking about the environment, as again, the government of India, everybody is talking about these SDGs, right? And out of the 17 SDGs, let me tell you, almost 9 to 10 SDGs, we are trying to apply it and see whether they could be applied to in a localized environment to the villages that are adopted by Sathya Institute of Higher Learning. So thus we see almost in all the 3 thrust areas of the institute, the department also has taken up, and they want to do their best in terms of implementing the principles. But end of the day, as I said, the true research is something that is beneficial to the society. Otherwise, it's kind of becomes meaningless, and it is just stuck to, as a publication. It doesn't go beyond that. So that's regarding the department.
Absolutely lovely start, Raju garu. I think you're really rocking. So let's move to the research that heals, the impact stories from the field.
Yes,
the real world applications of social research. So a couple of questions around what are the most striking findings from the study on the Sri Sathya Sai healthcare mission in terms of impact on patient lives and financial relief. And secondly, how did the socio-economic mapping of the adopted villages reveal opportunities for meaningful intervention, and what changes are already visible?
Okay. Yeah. So before I take up these 2 success stories, a little bit of background. As I said, Bhagawan has done so much to the humanity. And of course, Bhagawan also trained us that you should do these things very silently. You don't need to, make a big hangama out of it. You don't need to spread around. Just do it silently. Let the, left hand doesn't know the right hand is giving, that kind of philosophy. We were all grown up, and Swami would never canvas, never advertise. But slowly we realized that, Bhagawan did it. It is mercy, it is grace and blessings. But end of the day, we felt responsible as Swami's institution, that can we scientifically quantify the impact of his missions, right? I mean, you can talk about education, you can talk about health, you can talk about water. I mean, primarily these are of course, the ultimate mission of Bhagawan is transformation, because that is the ultimate purpose. But of course, to reach that, probably Swami used these mundane things to, get closer to him, right? So that was the thought that all of us was having. And in fact, when we also met, people like the NEP chairperson, when he visited Prashant Dilem and he talked about NEP, we said, Bhagawan had talked about 40 years ago, Kasturi Rangan sir. But he obviously expressed that it's true, Raju garu, I'm not denying that. But he said, is there any scientific work that you have done, scientific study that you have done in terms of impact analysis? So that's exactly when we felt high time we do something about it. And we obviously prayed to Bhagawan and he gave us this jnana and how to take it forward. So we started off with two missions, namely the health and the education part. But regarding the health, the success story, I would say, as we all are aware, Bhagawan had started this healthcare mission. We've got two big super specialty hospitals and two general hospitals, and also we have the mobile hospital. Now, mobile hospital, as we have taken it as a real case study in terms of rural healthcare delivery system, because unfortunately, people take it for granted that the people should come and reach out to hospitals. Here it's a reverse story where the hospital would reach out to the village. And one of the objectives that we have done is, I mean, two things we have done. One is, what is the satisfaction level of the people who are participating in these or taking the benefit out of these services, the healthcare mission. And the second, we also try to look at the quantification. Of course, it's not easy to quantify because Bhagawan's love cannot be quantified. But we just try to do some bit of econometrics and do some calculations. See, can we try to calculate some kind of out-of-pocket expenditure in terms of how much would be the saving for the people who are trying to get benefit from this healthcare mission. So talking about the patient survey, we have found that whether it is the mobile hospital, whether it is a general hospital, whether it is the two super specialty hospitals, of course, the sample is only for 1 year. That is from June 2023 to May 2024. 1 year we have taken the sample. And across the four institutions, we found the satisfaction level is close to 98.5%. So people are extremely happy and they're thankful and grateful to Bhagawan that, and this is not a survey of some nature. We have scientifically done. In fact, there's a very well-known survey of PSQ 18, which is, globally accepted. That questionnaire we have used as it is and tailor-made 1 or 2 questions based on our rural setup. And when this was floated and we had respondents about 500 and odd in each of these cases, the satisfaction survey was really amazing. Of course, with respect to the maternity services, there was some requirement to improve on because as even Bhagawan says, there's no end to anything. There's always scope to improve. So probably that's exactly what we also proposed and given the report to the hospital people. There are some areas where the maternity department needs to, work upon and improve. But even there, nevertheless, the satisfaction survey was close to 85% or so. Little shorter than the other averages, but even they were very, very, very good. The other aspect that we talked about, of late, some of the diseases, unfortunately, many people are not even aware, namely the cancer, then the diabetes, and then the, blood pressure, hypertension. Now, these are the 3 diseases, what we call as the silent killers, if I can say. And on an average, everybody beyond 40, the chances of occurrence is much, much higher. But most of the times, people are not aware of it, right? So when we were doing this survey, we also thought, when we were doing the survey, why don't we do this 3 surveys in terms of cancer awareness, in terms of diabetes, are you diabetic or non-diabetic, and also with respect to hypertension. So surprising fact was majority of the people were unaware that they were already into the first phase of the diabetes, what we call the pre-diabetes, or they were in the first phase of the hypertension, right? The blood pressure that we talk about. And with respect to women, regarding cancer, which is more dangerous, and, especially the breast cancer and the cervical cancer, we found that 40 to 50 years of women were totally unaware that there is something called the cancer of this nature. And they also were unaware that they need to get screened. And this was much more highlighted among the rural and uneducated people and compared to educated people. So the policy implications of these 3 surveys really helped the people to realize that they were on the starting stage, because these 3 are diseases where they're silent killers, as I said. They step in, but the impact is not immediate. You may not realize any side effect initially, but that would take 15 years or so, but by then the damage is done enough. So this questionnaire of creating awareness, identifying, and this also help the rural healthcare people in terms of. But yet another thing that we have done is we have compared the awareness levels of people in and around or visiting Prashant Nilayam hospitals and Vrindavan vis-a-vis the NFHS survey. So this is what is called NFHS survey, National Family Health Survey, which is done at a national level. So we found, because people were reaching out and because mobile hospital was reaching out to these people, definitely the chances of getting aware or getting screened was relatively higher The national average was much higher compared to those people. So the point is, this mission, that is healthcare mission, has definitely created a long-term impact on the lives of the people. Now, this is the number part. If you look at, a lot of anecdotes were shared. For example, people said, had I been, having this disease, there would have been opportunity cost of me missing out and, going in a field, working in a field, or working as servant maid. So there are a lot of people where people felt that, so it's not just in terms of the out-of-pocket expenditure, how they saved 100 rupees or 500 rupees as, the fee or something. But the best part is the opportunity cost, how they have gained. And another important aspect is the transformation. Many of the people who have visited hospitals, including other castes, initially they were non-devotees, non-believers, but they just heard it's provided free, so people came. But the ambience it has created, the service it has created, has a very long-standing impact on these people. And as I said again, ultimately the ultimate miracle of Bhagawan is transformation. So many people have transformed themselves, and they're in a position to help other people. So these are some of the important outcomes of the surveys in terms of the hospitals. And with respect to out-of-pocket expenditure, obviously, the super hospitals have got huge out-of-pocket expenditure in terms of people saving compared to general and mobile. Another interesting thing which we found, honestly, we were always feeling that, when during Aradhana Mahotsav, generally the Naganand trustee, he announces that we have done so many OPDs, we have done so many IPDs, etc. But to be very frank, that figure were not very, very, very pleasing or not very attractive. So we just wanted to know what is the actual cost incurred by the hospitals. So, for example, though the cost, the hospital may say we have spent, say, 25 crores. But what we found, the market value of that is literally 5 to 6 times. The reason being, it's much lesser because there may be sevadals who are doing it as seva to Bhagawan. So they're not charging, obviously. There may be doctors who are on a visiting basis. They don't charge. There may be suppliers who are trying to subsidize the thing because it is Bhagawan's. So what I'm trying to drive home is, we shouldn't think that, Swami is end of the day spending 25 crores. It is almost 6 to 7 times of the market value. So this is where we also thought, in fact, our aim is eventually to write a beautiful case study and submit to the government of India, to Niti Aayog, that by centenary celebration, that's our aim, that we want to showcase that this is what Bhagawan has been doing selflessly. Generally, people think free means no quality. But here is a very rare case that along with the quality, you also have something which is of free in nature. So this is with regard to the mobile hospital that we have done about. The second part of the story is regarding if I can say, the revised version of the Gram Seva. Again, the history goes back to impact analysis. So I'm sure you must have also heard and remembered, when Bhagawan started the Gram Seva in the traditional way, it would happen during Dashera. People would go and then, help the villages and, distribute clothes and prasadam. That's Bhagawan's grace. But apparently what happened was, eventually it's also mandated by UGC and apex bodies like NAC and other things, that they expect that every university should adopt 5 villages, right? So that's exactly so. And of course, it's not, the UNEP is talking about now, but as I said, Bhagawan thought about it long ago. But in a formal sense, for last a decade or so, we have adopted these 5 villages in and around Puttaparthi, namely Narsimpalli, then Narsimpalli Tanda, then Marlapalli, and then Buntlapalli and Kambalaparthi. So these are the 5 villages which have adopted. Now, what these apex bodies are also asking is, it is not enough you just adopt the villages, but they want also to do some kind of impact analysis. That means, as an university, how could you enrich the lives of these individuals? Right. So it's not that you go one fine day, give some prasadam and come back. We are also trying to see how do we empower these villages. So in order to empower these villages, in order to do some kind of intervention analysis, in order to do some kind of impact analysis, it's very important to know where do we stand. And as I said, now we are trying to do it in a very scientific, because unfortunately, whether with regard to education or whether with respect to healthcare or with respect to Gram Seva, frankly, we are filled with anecdotes. There are thousands and thousands of anecdotes, but scientifically, none of them could be quantified, though we have got large models which can do, but AI is trying to do that. But the point is, we thought we should scientifically test it out. So with that intention, in fact, Professor Verma was the Vice Chancellor, when he asked us to, try to refine the gram seva concept itself, what he calls as village empower program, village empowerment program. His idea was, let every department go to the village, right? Spend a day, look at what is the need, what's happening, right? Identify the research problems, keep your eyes and ears wide open, identify the research problems, come back to the lab and see what best you can do. And that's exactly, what Bhagawan would always believe, that, as I said, research should be for society and not for just for patents and, IPRs and trademarks and so on and so forth. So with that intention, Sathya Institute of Higher Learning has initiated that. But the prima facie, the most important part is the baseline scenario. Because tomorrow, if any department, be it languages or computer science, mathematics, commerce, anything for that, if they want to do any intervention and then they want to calculate the impact analysis, so we need to do a baseline. So what our department did for the last 1 year, again 24-25, is we have thoroughly done a door-to-door survey in all these close to 5,000-6,000 villages, households in these 5 villages, right? So which try to map their socio-economic and also demographic profiles. So the idea is, as I said, you get to know where they stand. You get to know what their requirements are. It's like you're not trying to feed to somebody who's not starving or overfed. We try to give those who really require them, right? So when we did this baseline survey, some of these, startling, I would say, highlights that we could identify was one of the serious concern that the current villages, in fact, I'm sorry, but Bhagawan used to always say, villages are still the, the warehouses where the, Indian culture and ethos is still happening. But unfortunately, the sorry story right now is many of the youngsters are moving away to the cities, migrating to cities because of the employment opportunities. We do have people who have got qualified, they have got graduates, but unfortunately, they are not skilled enough. Due to which they are trying to join as some class 4 employees or some contingency staff in some of these things. So one of the important target we have identified is try to identify the unemployed rural youth and what is it that we could do. So when we identified that these people lack the skill set, the basic skill set, the communication skills, the computational skills, the soft skills, right? We did that. We got them back to the campus, we trained them. And by Bhagawan's grace, most of them are in very good position now because of this intervention analysis that our department has taken up. So rural unemployment is something which is really burning. The second important thing is, unfortunately, agriculturists, right? We all know they are the most illiterate in that sense. And obviously, due to lack of good warehouse facilities and etc., they are trying to literally sell the goods at a throwaway prices. So we also understood that marketing is very, very important. Cooperative farming is very, very important. Creating awareness to them that these are the things that are required for you so that you can be in a better position to produce. So what to produce, when to produce, how much to produce. So all those are being guided by the Department of Humanities and Social Sciences with the help of the Department of Biosciences and Agriculture thing also. And another important aspect we have done is also try to create awareness. Most of the villagers, they lack awareness in the sense they are not aware that they are entitled to some of the government schemes. So it is not to politicize, but we are trying to create the awareness in terms of the individuals that what are the things that they are eligible to so that they can apply. And we are also trying to create awareness in terms of the anti-social elements like smoking, drinking, playing cards, and etc. So the idea is to take care of these people so that they'll have a better livelihood, so they can save their money and then use the things in a very, very productive manner. One of the important achievements that our department had, and we, in fact, in 2020, it's a bit outdated, but 4-5 years ago, it had happened. The Mahatma Gandhi National Council Rural Education, which comes under MHRD, they have identified Sathya Institute of Higher Learning as the Green Campus Award. They gave us Swachhata Award. And the award was essentially because we have gone into these villages and we have created awareness to these people that why open defecation is very dangerous, why it is very unhealthy. And it was very surprising to us that actually households had toilets, but they're not willing to use them. Right, whatever reasons, the taboo that they had. So one of the great thing that we drove this thing as a thing, and then we have ensured that the full village, all the 5 villages have gone, they're free of this open defecation free. So for which we also got the award from the Government of India for that. So this is another thing. Major concern, as I said, is education. So we're trying to upskill them and also help the children. So this is where, so now the data is ready. I mean, it's not the end, it's only the pilot study. The data is ready. So based on the data, we would give the inputs to the other departments, and then the intervention could happen, and then we could do an impact analysis. Of course, this is going to be a longitudinal study. It's not going to happen, in a day or two, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very longitudinal. So this is in terms of how Department of Human and Social Sciences are trying their best to, empower these 5 villages which are adopted by Sathya Institute of Higher Learning.
Yeah, the combination of Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli eating sixes, it's excellently spoken about this. And I think we all know Niti Aayog, Shashank Shah, right?
Yes.
Guy is actually there. I think it'll be lovely in case for the centenary celebrations you actually come up with a report.
That's our idea.
Yeah, that will be great. That will be great. So moving on to the next one, we look at analytics with the sole research trust areas and deep dive into core research areas and methodologies. You might have touched it, but let's look at the questions. How is the macro and micro econometric research at the department contributing to evidence-based policy making and public good? And can you share how financial analytics work at the department, especially risk modeling balances academic depth with the real-world application as well?
Yeah. Right, thank you. So again, thanks to Professor Pandit, who are the founder of this department, because I'm sure you're also aware, he was considered as the father of macroeconometrics in India. And he did his PhD under Lawrence Klein, who was the father of macroeconometrics to the world, World Project. And so thanks, and we were his, they were our mentors. So from the day one, since 2001, econometrics has been the thrust of this department. Econometrics, quantitative economics, macroeconometric modeling. Now, when you talk about macroeconometric modeling, obviously it will give you the aggregate behavior of the economy as a whole, and that would really help you in terms of policy formulations. It will help you in terms of forecasting things, in terms of forecasting GDP, forecasting inflation, and etc. So with the help of this macroeconometric modeling, what the department has started working on is trying to create reports on a monthly basis, right? So in terms of various macro aggregates, I mean, many institutes have, they release bulletins, and, even RBI does that, monthly bulletin comes out. So what we are also planning is Sathya Institute of Higher Learning, Sai School of Economics is the name that we are trying to call it. So where we are going to come up with this bulletins, where we are trying to generate reports in terms of what is the macroeconomic outlook of the Indian economy. To start with, we are going to put them on public domain so that the people can use that, right, free of cost, no problem. But eventually, once the visibility gets enhanced and once people are, confident that yes, this forecasts are doing well and they're very right, very close to, the real world scenario, because forecasts can always go, there could be always errors. But in fact, when we did a lot of our in-house dissertations, we call it as RMSP, root mean squared percentage error, was very minimal, less than 1%. So the accuracy rate was almost 99 and odd percent. So we are very confident that these reports which we're trying to generate are going to be, extremely brilliant and going to be very close to the real world scenario. So these reports could also be used for clients. So we're going to start selling it, because end of the day, as you also aware, these days and university is expected to teach. I mean, traditionally, now it's expected to do publish. That's again traditional research, even that's outdated. And that's where your IAC comes into picture, where we are also expected to encourage innovation and also encourage consultancy. Absolutely. So this is the reason why we are trying to, think about this proposal of trying to sell these reports to the corporate houses and, outsource. We get outsourced for in terms of providing this data thing. Another thrust area we are trying to do is the crop revenue protection. I mean, there is this Fasal Bima Yojana insurance scheme. In fact, I am guiding one of the students by name Prabhakar, who is working on this crop revenue protection. Unfortunately, the prices are protected. I mean, in India, the agriculture sector price, but crop revenue, the yield is protected, but the revenue, the price fluctuation and output gives you gen revenue. That is really missing. That's a major chunk. In US and many developed countries, we have well-established crop revenue protection act, but in India, it is still in the very nascent stage. So with the help of the actuarial data sciences, because it's insurance domain, and that's again across interdisciplinary departments, actuarial data and economics, we are trying to work on this crop revenue protection act and how it's going to help the farmers in India. Now, coming to microeconometrics, and we also call it as unit level data analysis, that is very much useful to do impact analysis. As I already mentioned to you, we call it as, in fact, we just got a project very recently, going back to Kasturi Rangan sir's statement, where we got inspired a lot that almost 4 decades plus, Bhagawan's Institute has been in place. In fact, informally 6 decades, but formally close to 4 decades. And we talk about value-based integral system of education. And as Bhagawan says, end of the day, Bhagawan wants every individual to have, the head of Shankara, the heart of Buddha, and then hands of Janaka, right? And professionally sound and those things. We are very much aware. We want to quantify whether our alumni what Bhagawan expected. Are these the traits that the alumni are carrying forward or bringing forward when they are in the outside world? So we want to quantify the impact of the integrals of education. So that's the project which we wrote, and proposal is accepted, and we are very soon starting that thing. So this is one impact analysis. So impact of Bhagawan's value-based integral system of education on the character building of the individuals. Similarly, we know very well when CSR funding is done, they prefer to do impact analysis. Similarly, when the government has a lot of schemes like Mahatma Gandhi, Manrega, many other schemes, many other subsidies, the government gives, they want to do an impact. So for all such things, the application of microeconometrics is very, 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 very useful. It is going to be very useful. And as I said, a lot of NFHS data is available. So even for that part, this will be very useful. So microeconometrics, unit level analysis also are extensively used by the department in order to do this impact analysis. And talking about the Swami's project, I already mentioned in terms of health, education, and water project. In fact, I was very happy to know that 2 students from our MA Economics, they were very much eager to do the water project that's done at Paderu, very far off, and in Paderu, right? So they want to do the impact. So how again, so far people have gone out of the way to help these villagers, where the tribals would walk for kilometers, hours together to get drinking water. So because now that is provided the doorstep, so what are the economic effects of that? What is the health effect of it? What is the opportunity cost of being provided? And it's done at a dissertation level. So I'm very happy to say that the heart of Bhagawan, his projects, his missions are being quantified and trying to do impact analysis with the help of this microeconometric analysis, and a lot of very good techniques. Like, we have this technique called regression discontinuity data or difference in difference data, RCT, random sampling. A lot of modern econometric techniques are being used so that it's not, as I said, because tomorrow when you try to publish this in Q1 journals, even the publisher should be able to convince that yes, the methodology used is something which is very good and scientifically proven, and not you're trying to quote Bhagwan's name and doing some substandard work. I think that Swami doesn't like that. So 100 birthday definitely we want to do. So that's the thing. Now, regarding the financial analytics part, again, our department is very strong. In fact, way back in 2014 itself, we kind of drifted away from hardcore economics to financial economics, because that's how the corporate is, that's how the job market is moving towards. And by Bhagwan's grace, everybody is settled in the world of corporate finance. So when we talk about financial analytics, we have predictive modeling, right? Analytic techniques we try to use. And these days, children are, it's like everybody is expected to have these things like SQL, Power BI, Tableau, or, Python, or these coding things are being taught to the children right from their first UG itself as skill enhancement courses. So we try do modeling the financial markets. We try modeling the risk management, portfolio management, portfolio diversification, trying to do macro stress testing, Basel norms to the banks, trying to understand the, the non-performing assets, what are the macro reasons why the things, and stock markets, economic fundamentals. So finance is also one of the thrust areas of the department. So broadly speaking, the 3 thrust areas are the macroeconometric modeling, which is useful for policy formulation, the microeconometrics, which is very much useful for the impact analysis, and finally the financial analytics, which is very much useful to the corporate for predictive analytics and so on. So these are the 3 thrust areas where the department is deep driven into the world of research. But all this, as I said, it doesn't end only with the technique part of it, but the best part is we also want to think about how an individual can be better off tomorrow with the help of the work that we are trying to do. Ultimately, that is then we get the real satisfaction.
Absolutely, Raju. So moving on to another interesting theme of purposeful partnerships, collaboration, and consultancy, where building bridges with government, industry, and global institutions. So a couple of questions are around what has been some of the most meaningful collaboration the department has undertaken with fintech firms or public sector bodies or international think tanks. And how do such partnerships reflect the values of selfless service and national development that the department stands for?
Yeah. I would like to be honest on this front where we are just taking the baby steps. I mean, we do have right now only three collaborations with the three firms which are located in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, two states. And the fourth one, we are trying to still have a tie-up with one of the foreign firm. Again, in all the three cases, with respect to one of the firm, where they're expecting us to, help us in trying, consultancies in terms of writing reports to them, as I said, in the macroeconomic outlook of the Indian economy, and that is more specific to automobile industry. So more specific to automobile industry, what are the parameters that would affect the automobile industry? And of course, a lot of macroeconomic variables also would influence the automobile industry. So we're trying to generate this, outlook, macroeconomic outlook, and then we started working on that and generating and submitting the reports to them. And they're extremely happy with the framework, as I mentioned to you. The second form we are trying to do is do the impact analysis in terms of a lot of schemes, because these days, unfortunately or fortunately, but states are caught up with this freebies. So many states are trying to go for this freebies for vote bank politics or whatever. But most important is whether these freebies are very impactful or not, useful or not. So to do the impact analysis, one of the firm in Telangana in Hyderabad, they have given us this consultancy project where we are trying to outsource, we are trying to help them out in trying to see whether the beneficiaries of these schemes by various freebies and various schemes by the Telangana government, has it really served the purpose for which these schemes have been delivered? That's the second part that we are trying to do. And the third important thing is again to do on the impact analysis, but at a national level. So they are trying to see, for example, the national level, there are a lot of schemes, like for example, as I said, the Fasal Bima Yojana, the insurance schemes, the awareness that the individuals have, especially the rural sector, whether, luckily Puttaparthi is surrounded by a lot of villages. So the scope for doing a lot of research is much, much higher. So as I said, these are only baby steps, frankly, a lot more to be done, but we are just opening. But I also want to take this opportunity and also welcome the corporate houses and also the public sector, the private sector, to ensure that definitely Sathya Institute of Higher Learning and the Department of Economics and Department of Humanities and Social Sciences is definitely a very, very good platform in order to have a very nice collaborative research and also purpose-driven scholarships, so that we can contribute something which is more meaningful to the nation development. So as Bhagawan says, information alone is not important, transformation is equally important. So as I've been telling from the beginning, that our research doesn't end only with information. Eventually, this information should be in a position to transform. So with the help of Bhagawan's grace and blessings, I'm sure whatever little we are trying to do, little baby steps that we have taken forward, we try and ensure that at every stage, we would like to incorporate this value-based system of learning that Bhagawan has taught us. And it's in our DNA. We don't need to explicitly mention, but we want to incorporate and be the best. So this is also a great opportunity, as I said, to express ourselves and our thoughts. And we welcome all the corporate houses, whoever is listening to this podcast, please and have a tie-up. We will have discussions we can deliberate upon, so that it can be both intellectually rigorous and also it can be driven by selfless service. So this would be our motto of our department.
Excellent, Raju. I think the fifth theme you actually covered, so I'm not going to ask the questions there.
Okay.
But a quick summary for those who want to have a understanding in terms of what we actually covered. So we looked at the vision and mission of the department, the embodied scholarship. That's as the theme one. We looked at research that heals, impact stories from the field. The thrust areas, the research thrust areas in terms of analytics with a soul kind of a theme, and collaboration and consultancy, the purposeful partnerships as such. So Raju, I think you did a great job in terms of representing the department, more importantly, sharing the kind of impactful research to the larger public as such, to the devotees and also the rest of the world. I think as part of the Innovation with the Purpose series, this is the entire intent, that we actually bring out the impactful research and then share across to the entire population. And with Swami's grace, I think you did a fantastic job. Thanks so much for your time. Any parting words which you want to share before we close?
No, I just want to thank the IAC and thank you personally for taking time of your busy schedule and arranging this. It's a great thing. It's a nice exposure for us as well. And I'm very sure that such kind of things should be encouraged further, because that's an opportunity for us to, the visibility gets enhanced. I'm sorry, but the peer perception is very low. Many people are not aware that, because they think that SIHL means only bhajans, Vedam, and etc., but not so much of academia, things going on. So I think this is a very good platform that you have created. Thanks to IAC team, and thanks once again to you for creating this beautiful thing. And I think we should continue. And probably I would even suggest that we should open up to other faculty members as well, because they may have different perception, they may give different thing to that, and this exercise will only add on more and more, and ultimately the visibility of SIHL will be at a very good high, at a great place. So I think this can be the best contribution to Bhagawan for his centenary celebrations. It's amazing, sir. Congratulations for the wonderful session that is being going on, and congrats to you for this wonderful thing.
Thank you, Raj Garu. Thank you so much for your time. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.